Right now, as you're watching this, God is saying something specific about that person who won't leave your mind. And what He's saying will completely change how you see these signs that keep repeating. He sees you there, exhausted not just from waiting but from doubting. You've seen the signs. Not once, not twice. So many times you've lost count. Their names showing up in impossible places. Songs that speak exactly about what you two share, playing at just the right moment. Dreams so vivid, you wake up confused. Numbers, dates, synchronicities that give you chills. And yet, a voice inside you keeps saying, what if I'm seeing things that aren't there? What if I'm creating signs in my head because I want it to be true so badly? What if I'm just another person in love seeing coincidences as divine messages? And God wants you to hear this today. I don't confirm the same thing repeatedly by accident. When I show you something once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, 20 times, it's because that thing is real. And I need you to stop doubting what I've already confirmed. Don't give up on this person. Not because you're being stubborn, but because God has already confirmed them to you so many times that if you give up now, you'll be giving up on what He Himself placed in your path. But Lord, you say, if you've confirmed it so much, why are they so distant? Why don't they reach out? Why all this silence? Why does it feel like I'm invisible to them? And God answers, my son, my daughter, let me explain something about how I work that will change everything. When I confirm something to you repeatedly, it's not so you'll run after it desperately trying to make it happen. It's so you'll have enough conviction to wait with faith while I work on their heart. You know why God needs to give you so many confirmations? Because He knows their silence is coming. He knows there will be days when you look at the situation and think, there's no hope left. He knows your mind will attack you with thoughts that you're wasting time, that they've forgotten you, that you're being pathetic. And when those days come, these confirmations will be the anchor that keeps you steady. Every sign God gave you wasn't entertainment. It was spiritual ammunition. It was fuel for the dry days. It was a reminder that He's in control, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Now, there's something you need to understand that will free you from enormous pain. Do you think you're the only one receiving signs? God is saying, do you think I'm only talking to you about this? No, I'm sending signs to them too. The difference is that while you paid attention, they're fighting against the signs with desperate force. Every time you pop into their mind for no reason in the middle of the day, every time they see something that reminds them of you and feel that inexplicable tightness in their chest, every time they try to convince themselves they've moved on and something inside screams it's a lie, every time they wake up from a dream about you and stay disturbed all day, it's God confirming to them the same way He confirms to you. Except while you accepted the confirmations and surrendered to what you're feeling, they're still in the denial phase. And denial, as God knows, is a painful and lengthy process. They look at the signs and ignore them on purpose. They feel the pull in their heart and force themselves to divert their thoughts. They want to reach out to you and hold back their hand from picking up the phone. Why? Because they're afraid. Afraid that surrendering to you means losing control. Afraid that you'll see the broken parts of them they hide from everyone. Afraid that what you two have is so intense that if it doesn't work out, they won't survive the pain. People who've been deeply hurt prefer the familiar suffering of loneliness over the unknown risk of loving again, so they choose silence. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much and don't know how to handle it. And here's what God needs you to understand. This silence isn't about you, it's about them. It's about the war happening inside them between what their heart wants and what their mind is afraid of losing. While you interpret the silence as rejection, God sees the silence as processing. They're processing feelings they don't understand. They're processing fears they can't name. They're processing the terrifying possibility that maybe you're exactly what they've always asked God for in secret prayers. And God is working on this process. Each day of silence isn't a lost day. It's a day where He's removing another layer of fear, another limiting belief, another barrier preventing them from surrendering to what's real. But Lord, you ask, how much longer will I have to endure this? How much longer will I have to see signs without seeing action? And God gives you an honest answer: until they're ready. And they'll be ready when I finish healing what needs to be healed, when I finish strengthening what needs to be strengthened, when they finally understand that running from you is running from their own destiny. But until that time comes, pay attention to this prophetic word God is releasing. Every new confirmation you receive isn't just to encourage you. It's a sign that He's advancing another stage in their heart. You know when suddenly you see their name 3 times in the same day? It's because on that day God touched something deep in them. You know when you have a vivid dream about them? It's because that night He also spoke to them in dreams, and your spirits needed to reconnect on the spiritual plane to strengthen the connection. God is saying, the confirmations are simultaneous. I don't confirm to you while they're forgetting you. I confirm to you exactly when I'm working most intensely on them. So when you see a sign, don't get anxious wanting to chase after them. Be grateful, because that sign means that in that moment, wherever they are, God is doing something powerful in their heart that you can't see yet. Now let Him tell you something that will give you peace. These repeated confirmations you're receiving, they have a dual purpose. First, God wants to make sure that when they finally come, you won't doubt that it was He who brought them back. Because if He hadn't confirmed so many times, you'd think it was luck, coincidence, or your own effort. But He confirms repeatedly so that when it happens, you'll know with absolute certainty it was divine intervention. Second, to prepare you not to give up in the hardest moments. And those moments will come. There will be days when the silence will hurt so much you'll want to block, delete, disappear. There will be moments when you see them with other people and jealousy consumes you. There will be nights when you'll feel stupid for still believing. And in those moments, you'll return to the confirmations. You'll remember that day you saw their name 3 times in a row. You'll remember that prophetic dream. You'll remember that song that played when you asked for a sign. And these memories will hold you firm when everything is screaming at you to let go. But what if I'm interpreting it wrong? You question. What if these signs aren't what I think they are? And God responds, my son, my daughter, I know your heart. I know when you're forcing interpretations out of desperation. And I know when you're genuinely recognizing my voice. And if you've made it this far, if you're still believing despite everything, it's not stubbornness. It's my spirit inside you, confirming that what you feel is real. Think about it. Do you think you could keep this hope alive for so long if it were just your will? Do you think you could resist all the voices telling you to give up if there wasn't something greater sustaining you? Hope that comes only from you dies quickly. Hope that comes from God withstands any storm, and yours is still alive. Wounded, tired, sometimes almost dying, but alive. And that's proof that God is feeding it. Because He wouldn't feed a hope that won't be fulfilled. He's not cruel. Now there's something very important God needs to teach you. While you wait, while the signs keep coming, and so does the silence, don't put your life on hold. Many people make this mistake. They see the confirmations and stop living, stop growing, stop developing. They stay there, paralyzed, just waiting for the person to appear. And you know what happens? When the person finally shows up, they find someone stagnant, someone who hasn't evolved, someone who put their entire life on pause. God is saying, don't do that. The confirmations I give you aren't for you to stop. They're for you to continue with conviction. Keep going. Keep developing. Keep becoming the best version of yourself. Because when they come, they need to find someone vibrant, someone whole, someone who has a rich life and just wants to share it, not someone empty, waiting to be filled. I know this waiting sometimes feels like it's draining you from the inside, that there are nights when you wonder if it's still worth believing, if it's still worth waiting. And it's precisely in this emotional exhaustion, in this weariness of carrying a hope that nobody else understands, that many people end up giving up on the love God prepared for them. But there's a way to go through this journey with more clarity, with more inner strength, with the certainty that you're not alone in this process. There's a path that can help you transform this painful waiting into a time of deep preparation, not just to receive this love, but to be truly ready for it. If this resonates in your heart, I've left a special gift in the first pinned comment, something that could make all the difference in this journey you're living. Use this waiting time to strengthen yourself, to heal your own wounds, to develop your intimacy with God, to build the life you want to have when they're finally by your side. Because the best gift you can give them when they arrive is you whole, healed, mature, ready. And there's something beautiful that happens when you do this. The more you grow, the more you heal, the more you develop, the faster God can work on them, because you're spiritually connected. When you rise, it creates a spiritual pressure for them to rise too. When you heal, paths of healing open for them. It's all interconnected, so every time you work on yourself, you're actually accelerating their process. Not in a manipulative way, but in a natural, spiritual, divine way. Now pay attention to this, because it's a prophetic word God is releasing. In the times ahead, the confirmations will increase in frequency and intensity. You'll see even clearer signs, even more impossible coincidences. Moments where you'll have absolute certainty that He's orchestrating everything. And when that starts happening, don't despair wanting to rush things. It's a sign that you're entering the final stretch. It's a sign that the work God is doing on them is reaching the final stages. It's a sign that the resistance is cracking and surrender is near. But until then, until the moment of reunion, God needs you to do something for Him. Pray for them differently. Stop praying asking for them to reach out to you, God is saying. Stop praying asking for them to love you. That's praying focused on you, on what you want, on what you need. Start praying focused on them. Lord, heal their heart. Remove the fears that paralyze them. Break the chains that bind them. Show them who they really are. Let them experience your love so deeply they never accept anything less again. Free them to love without fear. When you pray like this, something powerful happens. You stop being someone desperate for a relationship. You become an intercessor. And intercessors move mountains. And speaking of praying differently, of transforming this waiting into real growth, remember what I mentioned earlier? It's there in the first pinned comment, waiting for you. That's how God worked the greatest miracles in the Bible, through people who prayed not for themselves, but for others. Abraham interceded for Sodom. Moses interceded for Israel. Jesus interceded for humanity. And when you intercede for the person you love, you activate a spiritual power that accelerates processes that would take years. Remember Job's story? He lost everything and suffered for years. But you know when everything changed? When he prayed for the friends who judged and hurt him? The moment Job took the focus off himself and interceded for others, God restored double everything he had lost. God is asking you today, do you want me to restore your love story? Then intercede for them, even when it hurts, even when they ignore you, even when it seems they don't deserve it. Because love that intercedes is love that overcomes any barrier. Now, He knows you want to know when they'll show up, when the silence will break, when the confirmations will transform into concrete reality. And God will tell you the same thing He tells everyone who asks that question. I don't work with calendars. I work with preparation. When you're ready and they're ready, it won't take even one more second. But He'll give you something better than a date. Internal signs that it's getting close. There will come a moment when you'll wake up and won't feel that suffocating anguish in your chest anymore. You'll think of them, and instead of despair, you'll feel peace. A strange, supernatural peace that doesn't make sense considering nothing has changed externally. God is saying that peace is the sign that the preparation in you is complete. You'll stop compulsively checking their social media. You'll stop making excuses to pass by where they go. You'll feel an inner freedom that doesn't come from having forgotten them, but from having finally surrendered them completely into God's hands. That freedom, says, is the sign that you finally truly trusted me. And when those internal signs appear, prepare your heart. Because when you finally rest in the waiting, that's when God starts moving everything for the meeting to happen. The sign that it's near isn't them reaching out to you. The sign that it's near is you finally having peace, even without them having reached out yet. Because that peace proves your heart finally let go of control and trusted God's timing. And when they come, and they will come, it won't be that indecisive person who treated you with indifference. It will be someone transformed, someone who finally understood what they almost lost, someone who comes humble, broken, ready to build something real. They'll arrive asking forgiveness for taking so long, asking forgiveness for ignoring you, asking forgiveness for fighting against something that was obvious. And when you look into their eyes, you'll see a completely different person from the one who left you. God is saying, because I didn't just bring them back, I transformed them along the way. And in that moment, you'll look back and understand perfectly why you had to wait, why it had to hurt, why you had to see so many signs without seeing action. Because if they had come back earlier, without the transformation, you would have repeated the same mistakes.